Hello friends, this is Fox Nival Studios. Today we are here with new chapter What if Naruto was the leader of evil's generals, crossover between Naruto and My Hero Academia. Before starting story, please subscribe our channel. Now let's start the chapter. Evil was cool. It was as simple as that. While everyone was supposed to look up to the good guys, there were very few people that didn't have their favorite bad guys. Now seeking rad evil generals join the evil group. Now seeking scientists of all mad varieties. Funding for wicked and evil experiments will be provided. Also seeking minions, goods, flunkies, and grunts as well. Sir. This leaflet won't attract any serious applicants. A small woman spoke. She was short, extremely short and petite for her age, in her 20s, with white hair in a bob cut and pink eyes, her left eye covered by a leather strap, and her body barely covered up by straps and belts. Her tiny breasts were barely covered, and she only had a single strap that went to her crotch, wrapped underneath it, and went up her butt crack to connect to the back. Her arms and legs being covered in straps and belts as well. Her name was Porno. The evil general of finance and information, Porno. She served as a secretary of sorts, her job needing her to be close to her boss, and considering that they only had 2 people in their evil group of villains, it was no surprise that she was placed in such a high position. As much a loli as she looked, she had experience with evils that would make many people blush. On the contrary, attracting serious villains is all that will do. I listed no address, and I gave no information. A serious villain will do whatever it takes to join somebody openly seeking to enlist. Graduate of Konoha Gakuen, and leader of the evil group, Naruto Uzumaki. He was not much younger than Porno, being 21 years old, while she was just in her mid-20s. He was taller than her by a lot though, to the point that her short stature put her just up to the middle of his stomach. He stood at nearly 6 feet tall, with dangerously messy blonde hair and whisker-marked cheeks. He wore a black cloak with red flames on the bottom, black pants that had an orange rope tied around them to hold it up, and a black headband with a red spiral on it, with no shirt under his cloak. He had it all. His goal was simple. Rule over Japan, and be the best villain group that he could be. In a world of heroes and villains, he decided to become a villain for the simple reason that villains were cooler than heroes. Nobody had the guts to wreak it for evil in broad daylight. Nobody who feared the police at least. He didn't fear them, he embraced the challenge with open arms. He also sought out those who wouldn't feel shame over their ways being used for evil purposes. So it's a test. We're not a big group yet, Porno stated with a neutral shift to her tone. She had been working with Naruto for a mere 2 years, building up his information network from scratch so that she could keep tabs on heroes while also building funds. As the general of finance and information, it was her job to control their money flow and gather information. She was suited to both of those fields of work, since she knew the dark life like the back of her hand, and participated in some of the worst activities known to man. If you count the prostitutes, Naruto hinted. I'm not counting my porn studio. Their purpose is to use their bodies to gather information and funding. They have no combat abilities, and the porn studio is scattered across the nation in secret. Porno was used to training prostitutes and making them loyal moneymakers. She had been a hooker and a pimp before, and nobody was better at gathering information about the dark world than a whore on the streets. They saw everything, and met with people when they were at their most vulnerable. Since her name was Porno, she nicknamed her evil subordinates the porn studio, since porn was in her very name, and she worked with sex workers. Fitting. Okay, so here is the plan. We wait here for the general applicants to come to us. Nobody is going to come. Nobody is insane enough to come. Porno knew they were in for a hell of a journey if they were going to take over the nation as an evil group of 2 people. Somebody will come. Why are you so confident in this bad recruitment poster? Porno asked when she heard that overconfidence. In justified overconfidence. Because, only somebody who is truly insane would be able to come and actually manage to put together the clues. I used invisible ink to write down the address on the back of the paper, and only lemon juice will let you see it. Naruto laughed at how only an insane person would think to check for that. Insanity and evil go hand in hand, and I want only those with the brilliant minds filled with madness and badness on this team. Or just insanity. Naruto chuckled to himself at his own plans. The door opened. A small floating orb came in, and started to black some music. Get a load of me. I am the great and powerful, brilliant and beautiful, Ivanka Robotnik, Dr. Eggman as my enemies know me, the great scourge of this world, and the angriest woman alive. Somebody actually came. Porno thought with a raised eyebrow. You're hired. We can decide what your general position is going to be and talk details later. I still need 2 more generals. Well, Dr. Eggman, you're welcome to make yourself at home. Naruto looked the woman up and down. About 30 years old, a woman with long bone hair with bangs that became frizzled at the tips of them, and large blue glasses. A red jacket over her large chest, with bright yellow buttons, with a black mini skirt and thigh-high black boots. She was already dressed for evil, and even on top of her head she had goggles for robotics work. She had a large forehead, with the bangs shooting at an angle down her face. Not much of an interview. You figured out the clues, that makes you worthy enough for the general job. Just letting you know, as a general you are going to either build or recruit your own squad. This is Porno, the evil general of finance and information. If you have any questions or need to talk about funds, she is your girl. Naruto gestured to his secretary. And what do I get out of this? What do you want? I want to build my own Eggman land. Then you will have it, if you work hard and conquer this land with me. I will give a region of it to you for your Eggman land. Naruto told her with no issues at all with her request. She snickered and gave a bow, seemingly okay with that arrangement. Porno marked her down. Hours later, sup, this the place for the science funding? We are an evil group, are you an applicant? Yeah, sure. A average height woman with extremely messy green hair spoke, and large spiral glasses over her eyes. She wore a white-black coat and a black, barely there at all, tank top that didn't cover much of her extremely large chest or her belly. She was barely decently dressed, and her clothes were practically falling off of her body. I'm fine with joining a bad guy time, as long as I can have fun with my experiments. Go wild. Naruto told her. Your funding will be performance-based. Sounds good to me. I can't believe a second person showed up. And another mad scientist type. Porno marked down another general. Told you so. Shut up, Naruto-sama. Hours later. Those beneath me call my loremaster, but since you will be my boss, you may also call me loremaster. I am the best scientist you will ever meet, an angel who previously studied demons. A white woman spoke. Not white as in European, but white as in white was her important color. Her skin was an otherworldly white, the same as her hair and the 2 horns on her head. All of it contrasted with her black suit, but no her white lab coat or the metal robot arms or her red glasses she wore in front of her face. All 3 applicants wore glasses. Neat. She gave off a very demon vibe, which might be the Black Devil tale speaking. Another insane one. I love this demon vibe you got going on. You're fired. You're not just evil looking, you're cartoonishly evil looking. I approve of this. Naruto gave her a thumbs up. She raised a finger. Actually, I'm an angel. I'm still cool with that, as long as you're cool with working on the side of evil, and helping me to conquer Japan. Naruto told her with a double thumbs up. He liked her insanity, it worked with what he was going for. So, what do you want? I want to study humans. Then study humans all you want, and create whatever experiments you want. So long as they serve my goals you're free to do what you want. Your funding is performance-based. Naruto stated as he gestured for her to go and find where her future lab was going to be. You will be introduced to your fellow generals tomorrow. You'll be sharing a bedroom with Porno. Each of the generals will share a room with another general. Naruto stated with a grin. I'm cool with that. I'm going to fuck you tonight when you fall asleep. Ignore her, she's just mad that she was wrong. Naruto puffed out his chest in pride at his dumb idea working exactly as he intended it to work. His evil generals were set. Time to conquer Japan. The results. In the world of good guys, the means mattered more than the results. If you achieved failure, but you did so in a decent way as a person, then you were judged well even in failure. That was how good guys operated. Good guys had funding out the ass that never seemed to end. Because they were the good guys, so the government would use any reason it took to give them more money to work with. The world of evil. Building your own funds, and starting off with very little in terms of assistance and still able to pull off amazing things as they built up their evil deeds and made a villainous name for themselves. So he gave each of them access to a total of 100,000 yen each and a junkyard filled with raw materials for them to work with. Each of them were experienced with robotics, so in the end they were going to be competing. The budget they were given was tight. Z's. Scientist San was sleeping wearing nothing but her lab coat on at the moment when Naruto and Porno entered the room. She had a large machine that was melted together, and while Porno coughed into her hand to get the woman to wake up, Naruto just stepped towards the machine and grinned at it. He saw that there was a bright light on inside of it, and there was a person-shaped shadow inside of the machine. Scientist-san. What is this little doodad? Naruto grabbed a wrench from her workbench, and he tossed it over his head. It smacked Scientist-san in the stomach, and while she yelped and shot up, she didn't make to cover herself with anything right away. She yelped a second time when the wrench that bounced off of her belly knocked her in the forehead after the belly hit, before she caught it in her hands. Seeing her boss in the room with her, she stood up and put her oversized glasses on and straightened up her lab coat. That doodad. Got no name, but the amazing thing this machine does, is it lets you create human-animal-monster hybrids. Humans with the powers of animals, but no quirks needed. It can super-enhance people. Scientist-san explained proudly as she showed off the machine. It needs about 2 days for a person to get an animal's traits though. So I can't show you the first monster just yet. Scientist-san rubbed the back of her head casually as she apologized. Naruto just grinned wider. So who is inside of it? Naruto could see there was a person in the machine. A college girl, quirkless. Porno helped me kidnap her, and she agreed to this experiment, as long as I could give her cool ninja-like powers. Scientist-san looked at Porno, who nodded her head in agreement. She had indeed helped with all 3 of the new generals in their work. Had to make sure she didn't go over her budget, and kidnapping is free. Porno approved of the kidnapping, but she had to take points off for allowing the girl the chance to deny the experiment. Scientist-san had given the girl the chance to go home without any experimental machine testing, which was what took some evil points off for her. I score her a 4/10 on the evil scale, but a 8/10 on the mad scientist scale. She ranks above average with a true score of 6/10. The machine works. Porno mentioned the scoring system to Naruto passively. Not that he cared. So, not super evil, but morally neutral enough to work with evil. I can dig it. I look forward to your results. Oh. And Porno, give her another evil point for indecent exposure. Naruto stated as he pointed at her exposed nipples and pussy. That was sexually suggestive and could corrupt a child, which was the birth of new evil and dark desires. That deserved extra evil points. 6.5/10 is her total evil general score then, with Eggman. Welcome to my base, boss. And my new badniks. Badniks, why don't you show the former boss out? Eggman spoke with pride and eagerness, already betraying Naruto the second she had a small army of robots to do her bidding. Naruto caught a B-shaped robot with an energy shooting stinger. Ooh, betraying her boss. Add points to evil and mad scientist for that. Naruto saw that he was surrounded by multiple robots, all of which were armored and had weapons. He shattered a robot, and it had a small animal inside of it that fell to the ground. Eggmom's finger fell down to the ground as the wind was taken out of her sails. She looked at her robots, and saw Naruto point his finger at them. There was a flash of yellow light, and all of her robots were destroyed, freeing the animals inside of them. Not just enslaved animals, but small and cute animals were serving as the power cores for each of the robots. Eggman realized that she had failed to overtake Naruto and take his position as the boss, and upon realizing that she failed, she coughed into her hand and extended her arms with a grin. Betraying you? This was merely a test, to show you how I built robots that can threaten heroes, but never threaten your awesome might. Only you are a boss worthy of having me work under you. Eggman quickly changed her tune. That's great. She's lying. I know she is Porno, but she's evil. Betrayal is to be expected. But do me a favor, Eggman. Next time you try and betray me, just remember I'll crack you open and make an omelet. Naruto pleasantly stated to Eggman, who saluted him. Porno noted that down and gave Eggman a stern look, showing that she was putting that down. I'm docking your funding though. Once the tests are over, you will be receiving a 25% less base funding when compared to Loremaster and Scientist-san. Porno knew her boss didn't care about punishing the betrayal, but she wasn't going to allow her boss to get betrayed without the betrayer being properly punished. Just destroying her robots wasn't going to be enough for her. Next time it happens, I'll strap you to a fucking machine for 6 hours, then 8 hours, then 10 hours. Every time you betray him, add 2 more hours to your punishment. 8/10 for evil and 8/10 for mad scientist points, total score of 8/10. You'll be getting B-tier funding to start out with, minus 25%. Porno explained her funding. How much would that be? Eggman shivered at porno. Why was the legal loli so much more threatening than the boss? Ah, don't worry about docking her funding this time. Dock her pay, not her funding. Naruto grinned at that suggestion. Much more suitable. With Loremaster, eheheheha. Come along Naruto, come along and see this. My newest success. With porno's help, we kidnapped so many pitiful humans and turned them into demon-like beings with the help of the demon Elizer. Then I surgically inserted control chips into their brains. Loremaster waved her arms wide as she showed off 4 demon-looking humans. 3 male and 1 female, large and muscular with bright red skin and red horns. She laughed enthusiastically as she showed off her engineered demon humans. She looked towards Naruto with a wild grin. Scary, intimidating, seems powerful. But it might be too much to start with. These guys seem like late-game enemies appearing in a starting zone in a game. Sure, they're powerful, but Naruto made his hand glow. Loremaster looked at his glowing hand with curious, observing eyes. She stared down his hand, before her face became blank with shock when he slapped the fake demons and turned them into blood confetti on the walls. Those were 100 times durable than an athletic human. Well, you are the boss. I guess this is to be expected. Loremaster shifted nervously after a few moments of deadpan staring at her destroyed creations. She waved her hands in front of her and smiled to placate Naruto, since while he seemed happy with her success, he seemed upset that she succeeded too much. So, I'll turn it down a few notches then. How about 5 times as strong as a normal hero, and green instead of red? I'm just not feeling that. Tell you what though, you passed the test for sure. 7 on the evil scale, and 9 on the mad scientist scale. An overall performance of 8/10 on the evil general scale. But your loyalty was more impressive than Eggman. Porno graded Loremaster, and with all of the generals graded. Still, this is more impressive than Scientist San, who has yet to show results. Loremaster clapped her hands. Oh, I just loved watching her work. It actually inspired me to make my demons. Demon human. Demon. Nothing. Still, obviously as the best, I should be the top-rated general and get the most funding. Loremaster looked at Naruto. Actually, I am the highest-ranked general. That's right, she ranks higher. Naruto gestured to Porno, who nodded her head. Since she already had her own goons, prostitutes who made her money and collected information for her, she was already doing her job. She was also a pro at infiltration and seduction, able to use her good looks and body in ways most others would just blush at. Why don't you want me to make super strong goons? I have my reasons. Naruto walked out of the room. All 3 of his new generals passed their tests. Introducing the evil general of finance and information. Porno, leader of the Slut Squad, secretary and advisor of evil. Porno disliked the fact that Naruto changed the name of her unit, but she sat down at her seat of the table. The seat gained a spotlight that shined on it in an otherwise dark room, and she was in her full general gear, which was just her normal gear, but she had added a ring on her finger that had a spiral on it. She silently just placed her documents on the table in front of her. Now, introducing the evil general of robotics and biology. Scientist San, who will be taken the Misfortunate Misfits unit. Scientist, wearing her actual black clothes this time, though as barely there as they were, had added a spiral ring that was hanging from a necklace, hidden in her cleavage when she moved too much. Since her hands were usually covered by the sleeves of her oversized lab coat, but her massive chest still ended up hiding her ring often enough. She placed a couple of files on the desk in front of her. I report success, GG-chan has been finished. I turned a quirkless girl into our first mutated monster, giving her all the powers of a cockroach. Scientist San reported her success in creating the first minion of her Misfortunate Misfits. She wanted to recruit some grunts that could do physical labor and be used as experiment subjects. I request more funding. Show results. Porno stated before anyone else could respond. Now introducing the evil general of better robotics and security. Ivanka Robotnik, the Eggman. Eggman sat down and crossed her legs, well dressed with her spiral ring on her thumb instead of her fingers. She didn't have any files to put on the table. Instead she took a remote out and a small hologram appeared in front of her. A hologram that showed their small base and all of the security measures that she had added. She had been forced to deactivate all of her traps aimed at Naruto, for fear of Porno exacting revenge against her. I deserve more funding. Show results. Porno stated the second that Eggman stated her desire. Finally, the evil general of even better robotics and occultism. Loremaster, the demon. Angel. I'm an angel in disguise. Loremaster instantly corrected, when she walked in, and her clothes were her usual business attire with a lab coat. Only now one of her white horns had a spiral ring around it. She sat in her seat with a glance towards Eggman, who was the only one of the generals to try and betray their leader within the first week of working for him. I'll show results if you give me more funding. Loremaster nervously, shiftily, spoke as she made eye contact with Porno. Results. First. Now finally, the most foxy bastard in Japan. The man that holds the entire world hostage. The infinite dreamer, who can attain everything and anything his heart so desires. The leader of Spiral. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto introduced himself as a light shined down on him at the head of the meeting table. He had been sitting down the entire time, only he had his feet on the table as he leaned back. Now, Loremaster, let's address this. You have no goons, fix that. Naruto pointed a finger to the woman. You destroyed my goons. You need to fix this problem. Scientist San has Gigi-chan, and Eggman has her badniks. You need to make more. Scientist San, get more minions as well, and is this Gigi-chan? Naruto asked as he looked at a taller, tan-skinned woman. Porno raised an eyebrow. The girl was pale-skinned before the transformation, and her hair had not been white. She had been pretty normal looking honestly, but now she was a exotic beauty. Porno wanted to stick her head between her thighs and go to town, or motorboat her breasts. The girl wore shinobi-like gear, befitting of the abilities that she had been given. Gigi-chan reporting for duty, sir. Gotcha, gotcha. Let's test your strength. Come at me with all you've got, don't hold back even slightly. Naruto stated as he stood up and backed away from the table. Let's see the power of a monster, versus the power of the almighty me. Naruto said confidently as he crossed his arms in front of himself. Loremaster and Eggman looked interested in observing this, with Loremaster getting her tablet out to type out everything she saw. Eggman started to record everything. Great, I want to see Gigi-chan in action, go ahead, show him your skill. Fast. Gigi-chan's eyes became black and serious with her hair changing into a darker color, her hair gaining insect-like antennae. She had pulled out two kunai and slashed at Naruto with both of them, not holding back as she vanished in the blink of an eye again. Small tapping and clicking noises filling the area as she ran around Naruto and would attack from random directions. Fast, but not too fast. You're above the average hero. Impressive, and you were born quirkless too. No signs that your body is being strained either. Naruto grabbed her nose between his thumb and forefinger. She was stopped in her tracks, yelping in pain as Naruto just held onto her nose tightly. Good work Scientist San, and not only strong, but you picked a real looker. Attractiveness is just as important, it sets villains apart from supervillains. Naruto played with Gigi-chan by forcing her to follow where he was pulling her nose. How did he keep up with her speed? Even I couldn't follow it. Loremaster took notes at light speed, her eyes never leaving Naruto. Eggman leaned back with her frown dropping slightly. I thought that yellow glowing power was his quirk, but even without using that, he was able to catch her. And her kunai aren't even scratching him. His reaction time and durability are so very different than energy projection. Sexiness is important? Gigi-chan asked, but her voice came out funny thanks to him gripping her nose. It is to me at least. If the villain is strong and hot, then nobody can mock them for looking awful or being weak. No matter how evil you are, as long as you look good, then somebody, somewhere is going to simp for you. And simps can be turned into loyal minions. Simps are good for money, and to kinked air virginity is amusing. Porno deadpanned to some extent, but she picked up her files and tossed one of them to the middle of the table. This is the first target. This hospital has several patients who have been exposed to the drug trigger. Trigger, the quirk-enhancing drug. The very same. Porno stood up. One of my girls managed to get fucked by a guy who claimed to be a dealer. Tried to get her to use it. She's quirkless though. He sells the drugs in this general area. Porno tossed a map on the table, with a red circle marked. The goal. Kidnap several people who used trigger, and use their blood to develop out own anti-trigger. Quirk-weakening drugs. Who wants to take this mission? Porno offered the three generals. I've got this. And can I do whatever I want to the people I study? Loremaster raised her hand, accepting the mission that would be given to her. Kidnapping people was well within what she was capable of. As if some angel wannabe could succeed without any minions or goons. And you call yourself the even better robotics general. Eggman mocked with a wide grin. She and Loremaster locked eyes for a moment. Porno slid the documents to Loremaster. She tossed more on the table. This is Best Jeanist, a pro-hero who boasts incredible fame and popularity. He's a big dork for neat and tidy things. So, somebody needs to make him lose his cool on TV. This job is simple. Piss off Best Jeanist and lower his reputation. Porno introduced the next mission. Scientist San raised a hand. What does this do? Villains are always supposed to be a thorn in the hero's side. No matter if a villain wins or loses, they leave the heroes pissed off. Best Jeanist is known to always keep his cool. So it would be an achievement to make him scream on national TV. Naruto explained his plot with an amused grin. Cool, I accept. Good, GG-chan and Scientist San. Piss off Best Jeanist. And now onto Porno's job. What if I want the job? Eggman asked, but Porno tossed the file onto the table. Seduction. The job is to go undercover and see about exposing a top 10 hero's fetishes. I'm the best girl for the job, since I'm a pro at fucking, sucking, and then ducking out. Porno explained why she was the only one for the job. Information gathering was kind of her general thing anyway. Now, finally onto your job. Break into UA Academy and find a way to install a bug into their firewalls. The hardest mission goes to me of course, as the most capable villain. Actually, since I'm holding the entire world hostage, there isn't a mission harder than my mission. Being the leader of 4 evil generals isn't easy. Naruto bragged, turning his nose up. In fact, I'm so evil, when I die and go to hell, I bet that will just be the next place I take over. Naruto stood up and in a show of confidence, put a foot on the table. Everyone has their job this week, now get to it. Porno stated as they were all passed their files with the info they needed for their jobs. Naruto sat down in his chair and leaned back. It was fun being the bad guy. Eggman was bored out of her mind. Getting into UA Academy was easier than she expected it to be, because some fools decided that they would hire a whole bunch of villains to join them for a raid against the students. Killing future heroes before they could become heroes, causing general havoc, all under the command of a immature brat who wore freaky hands on his body. Still, the teleportation quirk that was used to get them into the school was useful for her mission. Go, egg spiders, do your work. And we might as well cause a little havoc ourselves. Eggman tossed small egg-shaped spider robots, no bigger than a coin, onto the ground. They activated and started to scurry away. They would do her job for her, and while she had been apart from most of the stunettes, she frowned to herself. She was surrounded by children. Literal children, from the young adult villains to the teenage wannabe heroes. She was surrounded by people who were general beneath a professional like her. Hey bitch. Prepare to die. A kid with a quirk rushed her, explosions coming out of his hands. He practically flew through the air, powered by those explosions. Eggman just gained the largest of grins as she tossed a small egg-shaped sphere onto the ground, and it expanded until it turned into a floating egg-shaped ride for her. She zoomed away and saw a second boy was running towards her as well, after the explosion boy. Oh, die, not very heroic. Guess you'll grow out of it, or you won't. Eggman flew up, and out of the bottom of her egg mobile, a blue energy field dropped down. She caught the boy who was running, and he shocked himself when he touched the walls of the energy field. Now if you don't die. Bakugo exploded at her, disregarding the fact that his ally was trapped in a force field. He zoomed up at Eggman without hesitating, and she yelped and disengaged the force field that she wanted to use to taunt the boy. She flew away from him, and out of the bottom of the egg mobile, she stated to rain down badniks into the area. This boy is a villain. I like him, but far too hot-headed. Eggman went out of his reach when he was forced to deal with her badniks. So long, Eggman shouted as she left the building. Back at HQ, failure. But I've downloaded all of their security data. I completed the mission. Eggman complained to Naruto as he looked at the impressive stack of information that she collected. She downloaded information on every student who had ever walked through the halls of UA. All of the heroes' secret identities, their real names and not just their hero names. You didn't even mention Spiral, and you worked together with another villain group. Now they are going to get credit. I give you a failing grade. How are we supposed to be taken seriously, when you don't advertise yourself as my general? Naruto took a large red stamp, and he pressed it right against Eggman's forehead. He looked at the stack of data that she had collected. She had done her job at least. She had done her job, without doing what he wanted her to really do. He wanted her to break into UA, not join in another group of villains. His evil general would have been the very first person to succeed in breaking into the most protected school. And now she was just one of the many 2-bit villains who broke in. Eggman slapped her forehead. I forgot such a. I feel like an amateur. Eggman couldn't have believed she could make such a simple mistake in not getting her name out. She had just did her job, taunted some children, and left. Now she had all of the security systems under her control, and she could break into UA whenever she wanted to. It would be pointless though, because it would be the second time that it happened, and not the first time. The first time something happened was what people remembered, not the second, third, or fourth times. Unless she did it by herself, with porno snap. Whoops, looks like this carrot broke. You've got a tight pussy. Porno sucked the broken carrot out of Mirko's vagina, before she spat it onto the bedsheets. She had Mirko bent over with her face in the sheets, and broken carrots. Her mission just meant that she needed to get kinks and fetishes of one member of the top 10, and she specialized in seduction. Her skills with pleasing men and women were the greatest of the generals no doubt, and even with her petite body, she knew how to use what she had to seduce even the hardest to seduce. Mirko was her first target. She planned to get the kinks of at least 3 members of the top 10. She was getting herself and Mirko on video, and she was out of her villain outfit, butt naked with her own body to the camera. Of course, Mirko didn't know that she was being recorded, or that the entire thing was live. She wasn't just recording it, she was live streaming the sex that she had been having. She took the larger, stronger, more muscular tan woman, and was dominating her live for all of the internet to see. The great and powerful Mirko was being dominated by a petite girl. Porno spun another carrot in her hand like she was spinning a gun, before she popped the fat end of the carrot right into Mirko's awaiting pussy. She twisted it as Mirko moaned and squirmed underneath her. Yes, mistress, please give me more. Okay then. Porno gripped Mirko's ass with her free hand and pounded her perfect pussy with her carrot-wielding hand. She chomped down, and bit Mirko's toned ass, getting a groan from the woman as she wiggled her hips. Porno put teeth marks on the woman's cheeks, and she showed it off for the world to see. She slyly looked at her viewer count. There were currently over 700,000 viewers, and the number was growing the longer the show went on. Bunny Hero gets dominated by Slut Loli. That stream title attracted a lot of attention, and Porno made sure that she wasn't the focus of the video. She was naked, but she always made sure that Mirko's body was more the focus. She didn't mind the world seeing her naked, but she cared more about her mission in making sure that Mirko's kinks got revealed to the world. Now, suck me off. Porno pulled the carrot out of Mirko and put the smaller end inside of herself. She acted like the carrot was a dick, like it was her dick, and she sat down. She gave Mirko the choice to move into a position that was more comfortable. Mirko started to go down on the carrot, sucking it just like one would a dick, though her technique was bad. If Porno was training Mirko, she would have forced her to choke on dick until she learned proper technique. Sadly, Mirko wasn't one of her prostitutes to train. Mirko didn't see the chat was going wild, since the new position that she was in gave the audience a perfect view of her face. Porno snapped her fingers. Her moderator changed the title of the stream. Mirko turned into slut by one of Spiral's 4 evil generals, Porno. Having fun? Porno asked Mirko with a neutral tone. Yeah. You're delicious. Mirko continued to go down on Porno the best that she could. Porno grabbed Mirko by the back of the head, and pulled her into a passionate kiss. Leather bands and straps started to gather around Porno's body, until she was dressed in her general uniform. Wah! What is? Mirko stopped making out with Porno when she saw that she was dressed again. Porno was spinning the carrot in her hand. Leather straps were wrapped around Mirko's arms and legs, with her arms tied behind her back, and her legs tied to different parts of the bed. Porno stuffed the carrot's fat, curved end right back into Mirko. She blindfolded Mirko, before she kissed her again. When I get back, we're going to have even more fun. But only once you've begged me for it. Beg me to fuck you with all your might, and you'll get fucked harder than you've ever been fucked in your life. Porno whispered to Mirko so the live stream couldn't hear her. Mirko couldn't see, or move. Please fuck me, turn my bunny pussy into your playground. Porno gave a peace sign to the camera. She left the room. At HQ hours later, please, Mistress P, please fuck me. I've been waiting, I'm a bad girl. Porno nodded as Naruto rubbed the top of her head. See, this is a success. Mirko doesn't even realize that she's humiliating herself at this point. Major points for Porno for this. Looks at that, you didn't just discover her kink, you tricked Mirko into exposing herself to the world. Man, look at her wiggle her hips. Naruto proclaimed as he watched the video, the live stream that was still ongoing. How did you seduce her? Naruto asked Porno. The girl just gave a subtle smirk. I seduced and challenged her. She never saw it coming. Now the world knows of the seductive Porno, General of Spiral. Porno had made sure to advertise their group with the title of the video. The stream was still up and running thanks to her team working to make sure nobody who worked at the site was going to remove it. Not until they reached 1 million live viewers. Then, they would shut down the stream, and delete it from the servers of the site. You didn't use your main account, did you? Naruto asked her. How? How did you succeed so well? Eggman asked with a hand going up to her head in shock. Unable to believe that the famous Mirko had managed to get seduced and tricked into spending hours talking dirty about herself. She could hardly believe the sheer evil behind how Porno managed to not only do her mission, but get the word out of their group online to almost 1 million people live. I'll have you know I planted a bug into UA, and now I control their security system and I've downloaded all of their records. Eggman bragged about herself. Good for you. Did you remember to do it by yourself? And how about advertising yourself in Spiral? Porno asked Eggman. She failed successfully. Naruto grinned as he spoke. He hoped Loremaster and Scientist San managed to amuse him. So the path to evil is not so easy is it? Screw you Porno. Failure meant punishment, even more so for those who had failed and had previously been guilty of treason against Naruto. So Eggman was getting punished, and what better punishment than taking the newly named Egg Rider, named by Porno, for a spin. So, without asking Naruto, she took the punishment and applied it. AKA, it was a dildo fucking machine. Eggman was strapped to it for 1 hour to start with, since honestly, Porno could see it was a honest mistake. Still, failure meant punishment, and failure combined with betrayal meant worse punishment. Get dressed. Porno tossed Eggmom's uniform onto the floor, and just pressed a button on the wall to disengage the machine. The blindfold around her eyes fell to the ground, just as Naruto walked in with Loremaster. Eggman looked at Loremaster, who was dragging a young man behind her, with the man being tied up. Nah. Boss. Porno could see a kidnap victim when she saw one, and Loremaster had kidnapped a boy. That meant not referring to Naruto by a non-formal name. Loremaster captured a boy who was in the hospital treating his trigger side effects. So I want you to increase her funding. Naruto stated with a grin. Porno raised an eyebrow and looked at Loremaster, who grabbed the boy's mouth and forced it open. She then pinched his tongue and pulled it out. She revealed his tongue to be blackened by drugs, though he himself was now normal or his quirk just didn't have that much of an effect on his physical appearance at least. Eggman finished getting dressed in time to see Loremaster smiling at her. Not saying a word, just smiling. Yeah, I kidnapped him. From right under the noses of all the heroes staying at that hospital. And of course I made sure to leave a spiral on the wall. Loremaster explained her success in the kidnapping to Porno, who noted that she used her tablet to note the achievement at the very least, though she looked at the kidnapped victim again. Yes. Naruto jumped at the news of the cool way that Loremaster left a spiral. She had no given that info to him. So, boss, why do you need anti-trigger? To weaken the heroes and villains, so that only your quirk reigns supreme? Loremaster asked, and now that she was finished getting dressed, Eggman paid attention to the conversation that might give her a clue to beating her boss in the future. He laughed. Why would I need to worry about weakening my enemies' quirks? If anything, weakening their reputations is good enough. I mean, no hero has been able to make a cure to trigger. So if a villain does it, then that is super humiliating. Naruto laughed at the very prospect of needing to weaken others to make himself stronger. I'm holding the entire world hostage, they just don't know it yet. Naruto repeated with a grin. Loremaster subtly scanned Naruto's body. She looked at his quirk. Ah. I see. Loremaster looked at the data with a raised eyebrow. I see. Yes. I see. Yes. Loremaster was just stunned to see her scanner give her a diagram of how his quirk was used and what it did. She made the scanner so that she could learn about the quirks of humans she planned to capture and use for her experiments. Yes, it was impossible to defeat him. With the data she getting, and the extra data that was coming along with it, she could understand why he was so confident. No, less than confidence, she didn't understand him now. She couldn't fathom why he was the way he was if this was his ability. It wasn't a quirk. Trying to scan me. Whoops. Naruto broke her scanner with a chop of his hand, while Porno made a note. Please come with me for your readjustment. Don't worry, we'll take away that pesky knowledge. Sorry, but the boss doesn't want anyone to know what his ability is until he can reveal it in a cool way. Porno quoted Naruto, while Naruto looked at the captured boy. He released the boy from his bindings. You're free to go if you want. It takes away for Porno to train a person's memories away. Or you can stay, we can cure you of the effects of trigger, and you can become a villain under one of my generals. Naruto gave an offer to the boy. He then pushed the boy into a chair, and the chair strapped him down. Naruto sat down next to the boy, and he pointed at the wall. A video started to play. Villainy and You. The Grunt's Guide to Being a Villain and How It Can Benefit Your Life. But before you decide, you should watch this. He could only add, to further influence the choice of the boy in order to make him a villain. Hours later, what is wrong Best Jeanist? Can't hit me. Gigi was going full speed, and fibers that tried to catch her just could not keep up. She ran literal circles around the popular hero, who was stripped half naked by his own quirk, using his clothes as extra fibers to control. You can do it Gigi-chan. Scientist San was captured by one of her own creations, a giant flower with tentacles, which were wrapped around her waist and boobs, squeezing them. The heroes didn't even have to capture her, because she did it for them. Best Jeanist was getting annoyed, and while he kept a cool face on the outside, on the inside he was steaming mad. He couldn't catch this girl. She couldn't touch him, because if she ran in a straight line at him, then he could hit her, so she focused on just forcing him to waste his time trying and failing to land a blow. Her speed meant very little in the matter of her defeating him. Stop that clicking noise, it is disturbing. I can't help being part cockroach. Gigi screamed with tears streaming down her face. Gigi-chan, mutated quirkless girl, given superpowers by me, evil general of Spiral. Yes, it was I who gave her these amazing powers. If anyone wants to get amazing. Ow. Ow. Oh whoa 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 ow ow. Scientist San could only squeak in pain when her own creation started to kill and molest her at the same time. It would seem that just being her creation did not mean it was loyal to her at all. Gigi-chan, please save me. It's squeezing my guts out. And I don't know what end they are going to come out. My bets are on oh wow wow wow. Scientist San joked about her own imminent demise. Gigi chopped off the tentacle that was holding Scientist San, just for her to land in Best Jeanist's fibers and get captured all over again. Got you. Would you please stop making those sounds? It makes me feel like I'm going to vomit. Best Jeanist shouted at Gigi when she ran past the fibers and cut them, freeing Scientist San so that she could save her from prison. The filthy sounds of bugs running could only be described as unpleasing to the ears for him, and in his half-dressed state against an annoying hard-to-hit enemy, that noise pushed him over the edge. Gigi-chan saw the man lose his cool. She escaped with her general under her arm. Back at base, this is Grunt A, he's new. He belongs to you. Do with him what you want as a reward for the mission complete. Your next mission is to take Best Jeanist's belts. Naruto gave Scientist San her next mission. So increased funding? No, your performance was abysmal. You made us look like a joke, so no increased funding until you show some real power. Porno answered before Naruto. She refused to increase funding to a general who had her own creations turn against her during her very first battle. Good work Gigi-chan, you can go shower. And if you leave me your pants, I'll sew them back up. Ha! Your ass has been hanging out. Naruto responded as he leaned down and blew a breath of heated air right against Gigi-chan's brown peach ass. At some point one of Best Jeanist's attacks must have scrapped against the clothes on her backside. Naruto enjoyed the view, before Gigi-chan blushed and ran away. Sexual harassment. I'm a villain. Naruto responded to Porno's statement. I made sure to give her a cockroach's breeding ability. So she has excellent childbirthing hips, and plenty of butt cheek for the squeezing. Scientist San nodded to Naruto, who nodded back to her. Asses were the best, Porno sighed. It was shower time for female generals, though since it was unlucky that there were no male generals to distract her at the moment. Porno didn't plan on taking a shower with her fellow generals, since that would mean that she would be subject to the spying. She stood next to Naruto as he looked at the video playing. So, how did your memory wipe go? Memory wipe. The showers were 4 stalls next to each other, and at the moment only Eggman and Loremaster were actually taking their showers. Both of them were butt naked, and though the two women could not see each other's bodies, other than their heads, at the moment they were both clearly visible to Naruto and Porno. This was an awesome idea. This is clearly an invasion of privacy. Porno stated with a bored tone. She didn't care that the showers were not actually private, and that they could be viewed and recorded so easily. In all honesty, there were only 5 private rooms in the entire facility. Eggmom's workshop, Loremaster's workshop, Scientist San's work bedroom, Porno's sex dungeon, Naruto's throne room. Those were the only 5 locations that had no security cameras in them, for the very purpose that Naruto wanted to be surprised at what each general would make. Scientist San lived in her workshop for the most part, so her bedroom was confiscated and turned into a storage room. No reason to let her keep a bedroom if she was just going to spend 99% of her time at the base in her workshop. I'm a villain, Naruto stated as he leaned closer to the screen. Loremaster has got some. Surprisingly. Funny, would not expect that color with her skin color. Naruto judged as he looked at the breasts of the most well-dressed of the generals. He sat back with a grin on his face, and he looked at Eggmom's ass. Porno saw where his vision was. Clearly, the most egg thing about her. How bottom-heavy she is. Anyway, sir, should you really just be watching them shower? Porno asked as she nudged him. I have no idea what memory wipe you're talking about. Ah, so you're denying that you scanned his quirk and got your memory wiped. I did that? Hehehehe. Time to spice things up. Naruto pressed a button that Scientist San whipped up for him, and he watched as a small amount of gas leaked into the bathroom. So small that neither of the women noticed the gas they breathed in. Aggression. It was a gas that would make them more aggressive towards each other, which would spur their rivalry on even more. Loremaster already had amazing results with her task, but Eggman had mixed results with her own. Hopefully, if they had their rivalry pushed forward, both women would give him even greater results and amusement in the future. Do you have any plans for Scientist San? Porno asked. He waved her off. She gets it. She gets why she is here, so you can leave her alone for now. Just make sure that she doesn't get herself killed. Then again. Naruto hummed in thought as he tried to think of a mission he could assign to Scientist San. He pressed another button. All generals, come to the throne. You have 2 minutes, or face Porno's punishment. Naruto made that message and sent it out to the entire base. He watched both Loremaster and Eggman scrambling to dry themselves off, before they realized neither of them would have time to get dressed. He laughed when they just wrapped towels around themselves, and ran out of the showers dressed in just that. They were interesting. He got up and took his place at the throne. -10 minutes later, Eggman and Loremaster were both forced to wait, dripping with water, as they stood in a line-up with Porno. Scientist San was missing, having been the reason why they were waiting for whatever announcement that Naruto had for them. Nice ass. So egg-like. Loremaster whispered to Eggman. Naruto grinned and leaned forward. At least my nipples aren't. Hiss. Loremaster hissed at Eggman under her breath, with the woman offering her a malicious grin in return. The two women seemed like they were seconds away from attacking each other. Good. Generals need to be fighting each other, bringing each other to ruin. The gas has taken effect, and now that they are embarrassed and humiliated, they can really mess with each other. Naruto couldn't help himself but laugh. His laughter got the women to look at him, while Porno looked towards the door. Gigi-chan opened the door and dragged an unconscious Scientist San in. Sorry. Scientist San was working on a. Gigi-chan was blushing and couldn't say what she wanted to say. It didn't work. Or maybe it worked too well. Gigi-chan slapped the green-haired woman's cheeks several times to wake her up. Just drop her there and leave. Naruto waved off the concern. I'll consider it an accident that she was late. You don't need to be here for assignments. Naruto stood up and looked down at his generals. Scientist San was dropped and landed in a normally embarrassing position with her ass pointing towards the sky. Porno. Your mission, since you succeeded in your last mission, is to. Naruto slapped his hand against a wall, and the wall flipped over to reveal a dry erase board. It showed a picture of each member of the top 10 most popular heroes, with Mirko's face crossed out with a red marker. Continue. This time, you need to humiliate Endeavor. Directly or indirectly. Naruto pointed to the number 2 hero. She nodded her head. Peeved. No way she is succeeding. Says the woman who failed last time. Loremaster, I want you to find the strongest student at UA Academy, and clone them. And then I want you to make them fight your clone on TV. Naruto gave her the mission that she would be expected to complete. Loremaster's jaw dropped. But that is so much work. How am I supposed to get the TV to show it? Increased funding for success. Porno whispered next to Loremaster, who stood straight up and saluted Naruto. Consider it done. Eggman, your mission is simple. Kill All Might. Naruto pointed to the picture of All Might. Just kidding. Your actual mission is to rob a couple of banks. Just do some villain stuff, rob banks and hold hostages. Naruto laughed when he saw all of the color drain from her face, and all of the color returned to her face when he gave her the actual assignment. She let out the breath she had started to hold. Too easy. Eggman spoke with confidence. Naruto smiled. Awesome, if it's too easy. Okay, then you need to rob at least 5 banks and take at least 20 hostages. Also, do not forget to mention who you work for. Naruto leaned forward and his smile became more strained, showing that he was slightly upset that she didn't do the proper thing last time. And monologue. I want a good villain monologue from both you and Loremaster. The best monologue wins. And the winner gets a prize. Prize? A get-out-of-porno free ticket. Porno held up a ticket. Can be used to escape punishment and force a different general to take your punishment for you. But only one time. Porno showed the ticket off. She watched as a fire was lit in the eyes of her fellow generals, and then she looked at the still unconscious scientist San. Will she be okay? Porno asked Naruto with some concern. She still wasn't awake. Heart still beating and she is breathing just fine. Anyway, Scientist San, your mission is to make a hentai monster and unleash it. Anywhere of your choice as long as you can get it on TV. Naruto spoke to Scientist San as if she were awake. She weakly raised her arm up and gave him a thumbs up, a grin overcoming her face. Ah, she's been awake. I was almost worried she would get replaced. She was my easiest competition. Eggman muttered, since with Scientist San, the competition was easy. Scientist San was clearly the weakest of them all, with Porno being the scariest one of them. She looked at Porno and gulped, remembering her punishment very clearly. She needed that ticket. And my job is a secret. Naruto stated as he sat back down. You each have a week to get your jobs done. So chop chop. Naruto clapped his hands together. He wanted to see some results. It had been 2 days. Eggman smirked to herself as she looked at the 11 identical robot duplicates she made of herself, and each of those 11 duplicates of her each had their own robot armies of 12 badniks following behind them, while she herself also had 12 badniks that would be helping her out in her mission for success. She just needed 5 banks to be robbed and 20 hostages. The rules didn't say that she couldn't do more than 5, and the simple matter was the more of her that tried to succeed, the more of her that had the chance to succeed. She would get some major bonus points if she managed to go above and beyond. Now to work on the monologue. Eggman wiped the oil and grease off of her forehead, and she pulled her jacket up her body without buttoning it back up. She had finished programming her robots already and just needed to set targets for each of them, and program them with tactics for how to respond to each possible hero that was in the areas that they would rob. That could wait though. She needed to write her monologue first and practice it so that she had it down to memory. She wanted that ticket. She wanted to get that ticket, and the slap Naruto so that when she got punished, she could use the ticket and force Loremaster to take the punishment for her. With Loremaster, achoo. Good thing his costume is made with his hair. Easy to get cloning material. Loremaster looked at the cloning vat that she whipped together, and the naked clone of a strong and muscular build blonde. It was easy for her to pick. The big 3. UA's more famous students, and of them she just had to pick among the ones who was the strongest looking. The seeming leader of the trio with the impressive sounding hero name, and a very impressive quirk that allowed him to phase through matter. She studied him for 12 hours and took all of the facts she could find about him online into account when she made her choice. After that, she just needed send a minion to break into the building that makes his costume, and steal a costume. Hey Lore-chan. Can I borrow some? Whoa. You've already got your clone ready. Scientist San realized as she walked into the workshop. Loremaster was writing down her observations, and she was just making her plans in general. She needed to get the event televised. Take whatever you need. Loremaster didn't look at Scientist San at all. She had a speech to write. Have you seen porno? No, Loremaster answered, since porno hadn't been seen since the jobs had been announced. She left the facility and had not been contacted by anyone. Nobody even knew what to make of her seeming disappearance. Shocking discover. We have reports of Endeavor's abuse. No way. Loremaster looked at the TV playing in her room when that news report started. We have found evidence and confessions from Endeavor's family that he physically abused his wife, and was directly responsible for the death of one of his children, before he abused his youngest child. No way. How did she do it already? Loremaster stopped writing down anything and looked at the TV with all of her attention. She watched as horrible things were revealed about Endeavor, less than 2 days after porno had been given the assignment. The TV screen changed. Porno appeared with a red spiral behind her, and both the eldest living son and daughter from Endeavor's family blushing next to her, their arms tied behind their backs, and their eyes covered by blindfolds. Hello Japan, I am Porno. One of the generals of Spiral. I have uncovered not only the dirty side of everyone's favorite bitch bunny, but I have also infiltrated the Endeavor family. And gotten 2 little pets out of it. Porno stated as she rubbed the head of the son, while she placed her foot against the face of the daughter. Her face remained completely neutral, but she had the air of confidence. Heroes. For all their bravery and bluster, they can't even save their own families when they need them most. Well Endeavor. These 2 belong to Spiral now. Don't worry, I didn't torture them. I've just allowed them to give in. Porno leaned forward. Mistress Porno. Please use your mouth. You've abused your children, and left a hole in their hearts that I filled. If you had ever visited your own home, you would have noticed how I was seducing them. How I filled not only their hearts, but also their bodies. Porno stated as she stood up. Even standing up she was still shorter than the 2 next to her that were crouching down, but she portrayed an air of largeness. What the hell? How did she do this? It's been not even a full 48 hours. Loremaster dropped her stuff and rushed towards the TV. What the hell? Eggmom's voice could be heard somewhere. With porno easy. A couple of neglected, abused adults who had gone through puberty were the easiest for her to get to join her through lust. It was even easier, because both of them craved attention deep down in their souls. She just gave them that attention, and got them addicted to her body. It was so easy for her to just pop into their lives and drown them in dangerous levels of pleasure. She didn't break them. They lacked a father figure and their mother figure was gone for a large part of their lives, so she just had to push them a little bit more to push them over the edge. It was easy for her to get them to admit to all of their father's crimes. Endeavor. You killed your son, and now I own these 2. You have 1 child left, so be on your guard that he doesn't join Spiral as well. I did not kidnap your son and daughter. They came with me willingly. They aren't even drugged. Porno wasn't speaking the absolute truth when she said that. She didn't use any illegal drugs on his children, but she did use a special gas that made them hornier than usual. So, what do you 2 have to say to your father? Porno asked her minions. We serve Spiral now. You aren't my father Endeavor. We reject heroes. Porno snapped her fingers and ended the broadcast. You 2 get off to the kitchens now. You will now work as the cooks for Spiral. Porno started to walk away, and she took the blindfolds off. Unless you would rather gather resources as my prostitutes. Porno did also give them that choice. Chief or prostitute. With Loremaster, she even had monologue ready. She destroyed his reputation. And even if he can defend himself about his abuse, his children became villains. Loremaster covered her mouth with her hand, unable to see how a hero could recover from a double dose of being humiliated on national TV like Endeavor had been. A hero with children joining villains on TV after having his abuse exposed would lose all popularity, and she wouldn't be surprised if Endeavor lost all of his popularity over this. If he lost popularity, then he would be dropped out of the top 10 for sure. Porno did it. Nice. She did some good evil work there. Now, I'm off to make a half-robot, half-slime hentai monster. Scientist San spoke as she walked out of the room with the tool that she needed to borrow for Loremaster. Ha! This is going to be a fun challenge. Scientist left the room, leaving Loremaster to look at her. Half-robot slime. What? Loremaster was confused. How would that work? 3 days left. Loremaster was nervous as she looked at her clone shoot out of the floor, slam into the ceiling, and then land on his face when he came back down. She covered her mouth in horror when she saw the exact same result after 2 days of the clone using her selected hero's quirk. The hero that she stole DNA from and cloned for the sake of defeating said hero. Yet he was weak. When he used his phasing ability, he went into the floor and he would stay in the floor until he ran out of oxygen and was launched up like a glitch in a video game. His power was completely unusable in battle, with no applications that she could take advantage of. She had expected that as the leader, it would be easiest to download tutorial videos to 50 martial arts in his brain, and just allow him to take advantage of that. She was also stuck with him, very much so. She only had 3 days until the deadline was over, and she already made all of the arrangements ahead of time. She knew where Mirio would be, and she made sure to give a tip to a reporter so that they would be first on the scene. She also sent a bomb threat to the Night Eye Agency, telling them that she would place bombs that only Mirio would be able to disarm with his quirk at a specific place and time. She didn't have enough time to clone a different hero, and she didn't have the time to change her entire monologue and cancel the prep work that she had done. With Eggman play music, EGGMAN by Paul Shortino. Boom, fools, you don't have money, you're just borrowing it from me, and now I'm taking it back. Eggman dramatically stepped out of her hovering vehicle as she looked down at the cowering masses below her. 3 of her badniks all had taken hostages from her current location, while the others were carrying weapons. Some heroes were fighting against her badniks, or rather they were going for her directly. Oh ho ho ho. Get a load of this. Eggman slammed her hand on a button when a hero jumped at her. Her egg mobile opened up at the front, and as he was getting closer to her, a cannonball shot out of the front and slammed into his chest. He used his quirk and knocked it to the side it would seem, so she pressed another button and dropped a wrecking ball out of the bottom of her mobile and rushed towards him. She slammed him with it full force and crashed him into the side of a building. He collapsed, injured but not dead. Heroes tended to be a durable bunch. Eggman glanced down at her signals, and saw that 3 entire squads of her robots at other banks had been defeated. It was part of the reason why she went with so many, to match the egg theme, and to be able to sacrifice some if need be. If she only made 4 squads and even one got taken out, then she would have failed. She grinned when she saw 3 of her squads were already back at the base, meaning that she had robbed at least 3 banks successfully. Her hostage count was at 18 as well. This is almost too easy. Listen here, I am Eggman, General of Spiral. Too long has this world not known our glory, or tasted our conquest. So Japan, this is a word out to the entire nation. You will be conquered. You will serve us. And we will rule. Eggman leaned forward to a person recording the robbery with their phone, and gave them an extra large grin when she did so. She frowned when another 3 of her squads were taken out, meaning that over half of the Eggman robots had been defeated. Yet, at the same time, the last 2 had made it back to the base, meaning that the task of robbing 5 banks was completed, but the last 2 didn't get any hostages. Meaning that she would need to bring her hostages back to fully complete her assignment. Badniks, take the hostages to base. Badniks? Her badniks were all destroyed and the hostages were running away, just as a blue blur passed by them at an amazing speed. Eggman, I can see why you call yourself that. What with that egg-shaped lower body? A hero. Wearing a blue latex suit with armored padding around the knees, hips, and elbows with half of a helmet to cover the front of her face, while bright blue hair came out of the back of the helmet and showed was spiked downwards. She wore a face shield that didn't cover her mouth, and she had on armored, bright red, boots. You may be fast. But I will reign. Hero name, Supersonic. Quirk. Sonic speed in the blink of an eye. The short woman rushed towards her and was standing on top of her egg mobile, staring down at her. Eggman drove forward and knocked the woman off, and swung the wrecking ball at her when she landed. Man, you're too slow. You're not just egg-shaped, but you're slow like one too. The heroine jumped and slammed the front of her helmet into the mobile as it passed by her, denting the bottom of her glorious ride. She turned to face the woman, and fired a barrage of cannonballs. None of them hit. Eggman swooped down and grabbed onto 2 men, and a woman, from the crowd. She pulled them into her mobile and started to fly away with them. You're an impressive runt, I'll give you that, but as much fun as this is where I bid you. Fuck off. Eggman flipped the hero off as she made her getaway. She was out of reach within moments. She looked and saw more heroes were starting to gather up together. Knowing her odds of getting away would be slim if she had to fight too many more of them. She already defeated a hero and several sidekicks before that blue heroine got in her way. Just know, next time you won't be so lucky. At the base, welcome to Spiral HQ. If you will come with me, we'll show you to where you will be watching your orientation video. If you wish to join Spiral, please fill out the appropriate paperwork, if not, you will be escorted home blindfolded. Porno greeted Eggmom's latest hostages, who were tied up and gagged, only allowing them to walk. The other 18 hostages were either let go once they arrived, or were convinced to join up with Spiral as minions. Paperwork? Eggmom asked Porno with a raised eyebrow. Yes, paperwork. You don't fill it out as a general, but grunts are expected to write daily reports on their training, and weekly on the greatest of their general as well as our leader, and those reports get filed weekly. Porno explained to Eggmom with a frown. Of course, you would know this if you had any minions. Gigi Chan walked by with a stack of papers in her hands, all handwritten, and a smile on her face as she approached Porno. I finished this week's paperwork, and here are the reports of the training I did this week as well. Gigi Chan gave all of her paperwork to Porno, since in the end despite being a monster, she was still ranked below general, and thus had to fill out her paperwork as well. Also, I need to report something about Scientist San. Take it to the boss. Okay. What is the point of this paperwork? Eggmom had to ask with a raised eyebrow. Subtle brainwashing and enhancing loyalty, as well as developing a good work ethic. By getting them to write weekly reports about how great their leaders are, it enforces reasons for them to remain loyal. And by submitting daily training reports we can gauge their progress and reward them accordingly. Porno was glancing through the paperwork with here one visible eye. She looked away from it for a second and looked towards Eggmom. You managed to successfully rob 6 banks, and you took 21 hostages. But if the video taken of you does not spread around, and your monologue does not become public, this will be considered a failure. Porno gave her the bad news and the good news of her successes. It would amount to nothing if her actions didn't get spread around as the actions of their group, and since no TV crew showed up to take video of her, all that remained was the hopes that somebody would get the video taken on phones and upload it, or send it to the news. Eggmom just groaned and walked away, with Scientist San. This just won't work properly. She was staring at a gloopy mess on the floor. Making sentient slime was harder than one would expect it to be, and even harder to make it both sentient and horny. She was currently tweaking a round machine that controlled the slime from the inside, similar to a core. It was a small robot that would imitate a core, and send out signals that the slime itself would obey. Also, the core was a generator. She only had 3 days left. I should modify it. Got it. Instead of making it control the slime that I make, it should just control nearby water and make the water act like slime. I'm so wicked. Scientist San laughed to herself, before she placed her sleeve to her face. She tried to think of how that would work, but she was drawing a blank. I should do that. But I have no clue how to make it. Ah, got it. Instead. This is going to be good. Scientist San changed her mind once more. Gigi Chan entered her room. Miss. Eggmom had returned from a success. Gigi Chan warned the scientist woman of her rival general's success. She just got a blank stare. Okie dokie then. Great for her. Hey Gigi Chan. Can you place that round thing, inside of that slime on the floor? Scientist San asked as she gestured to the machine she was working on earlier, and to the limp slime that was on the floor. Her monster walked and did exactly as she was told. Once the machine was fully submerged into the slime seemed to come to life and reached out. It grabbed onto Gigi Chan. Wah, slime entered her mouth. Success. At least I know those tweaks worked. But this amount of slime won't be very impressive for TV viewing. Scientist San watched as the slime started to strip Gigi Chan naked. And it should be made of a chemical that destroys only clothes. Ah. Scientist San realized she felt something on her foot. The slime had grabbed her as well. She shrugged her shoulders as she was pulled into the slimy mess, and she barely struggled, while the more she was stripped, the more her tan-skinned monster struggled to get free. MMMMPH. Oh relax, it only has 4 hours of battery charge left. Once it runs out of battery, the slime will go inert. Scientist San saw Loremaster walk by the open door, before she peeked in. Hey Lore Chan. Can you turn off the machine that is stripping us? Before it fucks us. Oh. Too late for that, it's already inside of me. Before it fucks Gigi Chan then. Scientist San spoke with a grin. Loremaster looked at her. She walked away. Thankfully, Gigi-chan managed to kick the machine core to the slime and break it, just as she was stripped to her panties. She panted and spat slime out of her mouth, before she raised her arms in both victory and relief that she managed to keep some of her dignity. Gonna had to repair this. Might not make the deadline. Scientist San stood up and looked down at her broken slime core, and while she had a smile on her face, she couldn't hide her own disappointment that her machine got broken. Oh well. I can make it more durable this time. She just picked herself back up emotionally, and grabbed the broken core. Gigi-chan silently got dressed and left. She needed to take a shower. The chapter is end here now. We will meet with another chapter, so don't forget to subscribe our channel for more content like this.